subscribe on our channel, and then yeah, we've got a lot to talk about. However, today's topic is based on like poverty, and today I'm joined by Nyathi, who's also part and parcel of the YouTube channel. Zach, how's it?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Good. So now, poverty.
Yeah.
We know that there's different kinds, absolute, relative poverty. But what's your understanding on just poverty?
Poverty in simple terms, it's when one is unable to provide for their basic needs. For instance, food. We can talk about housing, which is also like one of the challenges in South Africa. But beyond that, there's like one of the basic things like food, water, electricity. Those are some of the things that are very expensive in South Africa. And if you cannot afford such things, then it really means that you're poor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so if we take, let's say, one particular family wherever they're poor, they live in poverty, right?
Yes.
Whose problem is it that that particular family lives in poverty? Is it a government problem? Is it because they failed as people, maybe to go to school, get better education? Then by so doing, then it translates to the fact that now they will, I suppose, afford life. Whose problem is it that you are poor, you cannot afford to buy anything?
To give a very good answer to that, I would have to take quite some time, if you allow me.
Yeah.
So we can start with the apartheid regime. I know many white viewers will not be happy about this, but during the apartheid regime, as we know, we had like Bantu education for our black counterparts. So that was problematic. It prohibited from acquiring most of the important skills that the market needs in order for it to survive, and that those people would need in order for themselves to survive. So that's the starting point. So we can see most of our parents do not have education in order to get these good jobs these days that we have, in order to like get decent salary and have a better standard of living. So that's the main issue we can talk about apartheid. But then as we grow, it continues as a cycle. It repeats itself now and again, and we remain in poverty. Because now our parents were not able to go to proper schools and have better education, to have proper salaries. Now we also suffer the same fate. The fact that they could not afford good food for us, it means nutritionally, that's health-wise. We do not have all the nutrition. We cannot afford to buy all the food that we need to get all the nutrition that other kids are able to get. And what effects that does have? Our mental capacity is not groomed as much as the other kids who have proper food. When we go to school, we also do not do as well as the other kids can do. And then we graduate, we go to varsity, we do not do as good as the other kids will do, because what? They have the mental capacity that was groomed with good food and all that. They have good health, they would go to private hospitals. But for us, we'd have to go to those public hospitals where there's like a lot of people, you could like sit the whole day and not be assisted. So it's all a circle, one thing leads to another, it's interrelated. If in varsity you cannot do well, then it means you have to go out to the marketplace where you will compete with the very same people with money and people who have the mental capacity, because what? From the early age, they've had the good food, they've had the good health, and they've been doing well at school, while you didn't have good food, which affected your school, and now you're in the workplace. How are you going to compete with those people? So it's not the same situation with each and everybody. Like our body reacts differently. But for most of our counterparts, we then go to the workplace where we'll have to compete with people who have good skills because their mental capacity have been well groomed. And for us, we've been malnutritioned. So this is everything that is important.
So would you then say the problem that this one particular family or majority of black people is the fact that they're in poverty because of where we come from as a nation? Is that your answer?
If we look in a broader perspective, I cannot say, if we include white people, I cannot say it's because of the apartheid regime, right? But it could be other factors as well. During the presidential regime of the former president Jacob Zuma, there was a lot of corruption going on. And so, as much as those people or politicians would think they are very clever in embezzling funds, they were really not. cent that you steal from one department will affect the whole country. So what would happen is the monies that would be used to grow certain business, like small business enterprises, was being embezzled. Those small business enterprises were failing because they did not have funds. People were not employed, you see. So now people were sitting at home with skills and ideas but did not have the money to execute. It comes back from what? From corruption. So it's not necessary to say each and every case of poverty is like affected by the apartheid regime. No, there are other, socioeconomic factors and political factors that are affecting us.
Okay.
Yes.
So now that we've got people living in poverty, and then we've got government. I mean, now President Cyril Ramaphosa has just been sworn in as, new president, whatever.
Yes.
So what would you say? This should be the starting point in terms of dealing with poverty.
Okay. In terms of dealing with poverty, like I said, everything really goes back to school, because your survivability is related to the skills that you have. So I think what should be mostly promoted is education. And in education, there should be what? Good food and good health. So they must first make sure that people are able to go to primary schools. They must build proper schools where teachers have the proper skills to teach students or learners. They must go what? To varsities. They must fund us. Make sure that students have all the necessary essentials that they need, which include foods and accommodation. You see, like I said, the brain capacity is influenced by the food that you eat. Hence the saying, you are what you eat, right? So the government must focus on education, must focus on health, and ensuring that each and every student has the mental capacity to be able to focus on their studies. They should not worry about where to sleep, about where to get my next meal, about the fees. They should just focus on what? The stress that maybe may come with academics being hard themselves.
Oh, okay. So that is your way of saying that's the starting point.
Yes.
Okay. So now we've got, the youth, in South Africa, they're involved in substance abuse and all of that.
Yes.
So if you've got that type of mentality where people feel that they're just going to stay at home, drink, smoke, whatever, then would you still say that wouldn't that then play a role in the perpetuation of poverty? Because it's one thing to have schools lined up,
yes,
but it's one thing to take the kids to school and make sure that they receive that education. Because I'm trying to establish the fact that who is the problem in this
situation?
Poverty? Yes, the government has a role to play. But I also, as an individual, if I choose to stay at home and start drinking, there is a problem. How should the government then deal with me so that then they alleviate poverty, or I alleviate poverty in my family?
No, it goes back to what I said. Each and everything is interrelated.
Yes.
And you cannot blame a single factor on a certain issue.
Yeah.
So we can blame the government in certain ways, and I can justify it. But at the same time, we can blame the individuals. I know in South Africa, from 2006, there were more than 600,000 students who started matric and then were not able to matriculate when? This year or last year.
Yeah.
Those people are the people that dropped out. But among those people are people who are affected by poverty and other financial issues. But there's also another portion of people that are just influenced by society. So in communities that we grow in, if it's really riddled by crimes, then the children, of course, are expected to grow in and adopting those circumstances and adopting the skills to live in such situations. You have to be hardcore and all that. You have to carry knives, you have to carry guns. So that's the society that you grow in. The government might have provided you with a good school, but because the society that you live in is bad, you also become bad. You also pulled into that society. And that is where we have instances of where, in black communities, where someone could be like a learner, doing very well at school and speaking proper English. They would call you a coconut because they now feel like you're an outsider. So you are now somehow pressured to come back and be a part of them. You have to act the part. You have to play the roles that they are playing.
Then we just say society, we lack role models in our communities.
Yes, society, we like role models. When people say, my role model is this and that, that could be true, but your closest role model is your society. The community in which you live in is your role model.
What role do you think the police instances like that where in a community now, people are just doing okay, or youth rather, they're drinking or going to school. What role do you think police should play in that, and social workers?
In law we have something, rather a term that we call therapeutic jurisprudence. So therapeutic jurisprudence is all about humanity and treating the next person as a human. As much as the police are supposed to be enforcing the law in in terms of section 49 of the Criminal Procedure Act, they can use some sort of violence to deter certain things, right? If they are threatened or if someone else is threatened. But as we know, our police often use force even where it's unnecessary. Sometimes you can say, okay, but yeah, they're trying to deter and we understand it. But in most instances, I would argue that the police should play an active role in being role models themselves. If they want the kids to play soccer instead of going to do drugs, the police must join in. Let them try to play soccer as well with the kids. Because I know there are instances where police are just seated in the police station and doing absolutely nothing, just seated there. They can have community, engagement programs, engaging with the youth, planting trees, playing soccer, going to competitions, doing debates, all of that. These are things that the police can play other than using their guns and muscles and all that. So the police must have an active role other than violence.
Oh, okay. Then I asked with social workers, what must they do? Because remember we're talking about poverty, the way it's trapping our people in our mainly black communities.
Yes.
So now we've got social workers. Now there's kids who don't want to go to school.
Yeah.
What can they do in that instance? Because you spoke about police, how they should, I suppose, help.
Yeah.
Yeah, and encourage positivity.
Yeah. So, like I said, the community in which we grow in sometimes influence us. So let's put that in the perspective that the community that we're talking about now is that crime-rigged community. So in that instance, in terms of the Children's Act and Section 28 of the Constitution, in every matter that affects the child, the best interest of the child are of paramount importance, meaning that each and every official that tries to deal with a matter that's affecting a child or anyone must ensure that the child is well protected. So if they can see that, okay, the child is trying to really do something good, but then the community in which they live and the parents more specifically are doing much worse, and badly influencing the child, then they should take the child from the custody of the parents and place them in a home where they'll be able to focus. If your parents are drinking every day, your parents are fighting every day, there's verge of divorce, it affects children very adversarially so. And the social worker can play a role of trying to assist, but eventually if they see that the parents are not fit to be living with that child, they should be able to take the child and put them in a place where they will be able to focus on something meaningful in life.
Okay, so after all of that, after whatever that you've mentioned has been done,
yes,
then would you say that will help in alleviating poverty?
It actually does. It's not a working formula. There's no guideline in life. Like I said, we can look the same, we can wear the same, but we are not the same. We always react differently to everything. Like each and every individual is their own species. There's 3 million cells in your body that makes you different from me, and the rest are similar to mine as they are. So that 3 million cells can actually play a role into what you become. So an individual can become something good after being helped, but at the same time, there are those individuals who really somehow want to become hardcore and play their part of the community, and they still go back to the same circumstances that they were in before. So in such instances, there's really nothing much you can do other than if they commit a crime, you take them to jail, which at the same time is costing us money that could be used to try alleviate poverty in other ways, like building houses, providing other social security services. So in a way, we just doomed.
Yeah. So then the money that is being used for correctional services, for prisoners and whatnot.
Yes.
Do you say then? Are you saying that it's a waste?
I would argue that it is a waste because the idea that criminal law is meant to just deter people from committing crimes and trying to discipline them. In South Africa, that might be the case. And that's the system in Germany. And I like the system in Germany. Like therapeutic jurisprudence, the one that we spoke about recently, is working wonders in Germany. But when you look into South Africa, when people go to jail, they come back actually worse than they were as a criminal going into prison. Because in prison, they have to learn the survival skills. They have to fight, form pacts, be with certain groups, sell drugs, stab someone to look cool or to be part of a certain gang. They are raped and all that. So the prison makes them hardcore, and when they come out and try to integrate into society, they're actually failing. And what do they resort to? The crimes that they learned in prison. So someone could go to jail for like maybe stealing a lunch bar. Let's say you're taken to prison for 5 years. When you come back as a real criminal as opposed to what you were when you went in. So it's not really helping.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then in terms of government expenditure, from the way ministers and presidents,
Yes.
you know, people in
In the cabinet.
yeah, the way they live, would you think that if they were to lessen on the expenditure,
Mhm.
it will help in terms of alleviating this poverty?
That is actually without question. If we look at the many portfolios that the government have, like there's no need for deputy president, there's no need for deputy chairperson, there's no need for deputy this and that, there's no need for deputy treasurer. Our professionals, okay, the way politics plays in South Africa is that you must have maybe went to jail or know someone into politics in order to become someone. But they lack the ability to actually say, let's interview these people in order to fill these positions. And you can, as you can see, the reshuffling does not work, and it goes to show you that they really do not check someone's expertise. It's just about who I like, where can I put them, and where can they get the most benefits where I put them. Do you understand? So the issue is from the government itself, how it structures itself. It should change. They must put someone in a position based on their expertise. If now they would say, look at Naledi Pandor, do you think they are the right fit person to be the Minister of Higher Education or Education? I would absolutely say yes. She recently graduated with a doctorate in education. It's something related to her profession. But look at Jacob Zuma. He was a president. Did he have anything in finance? No. Did he have anything in governance? No. He was just a spy in like the foreign branch of the security agency. So we should look at the expertise of someone before we put them in a position. And these many deputy positions are really unnecessary. And that's money that we could be using to do something else to alleviate poverty.
Okay, last question. Let's say you wake up one day, Nyathi is the president.
Yeah.
What would be your first point of action in terms of alleviating poverty?
That's a really hard question to answer, but I'll be honest with you. When you go into a certain position, you go with the mindset that I will do this and that. I can say tomorrow I want to achieve 1, 2, 3. But when I get into that particular position and I'm given files and realize that there's actually issue A, B, C, and D, my plans may change from that 1, 2, 3 goals to what? 7, 8, 9. Do you understand? So I can say my goal is to like pay off all the debts for students. Yeah, that's it sounds good, it sounds nice, and it's ideal. It could be viable as an idea. But then when I go to a position, I find out there's actually more worse things that we have to deal with first. That's what I would have to deal with before I try to attain the other goals that I came with in mind.
So, if then you were to wake up, what you're saying is that you'd have to look into what's happening before
I could say,
ahead.
Yes.
But issues, you've raised an important point about ministers with prior degrees or qualification within their profession. You've raised a valid point. So now you've raised also a point about how we've got deputies and all these committees within a committee, of which those are wasteful expenditures. So then what I'm saying to you is that once like the first day, yes, the issue of corruption, for instance, let's say it comes from the fact that I know you, therefore I'll take you. Wouldn't that be a first point of reference to say, for instance, if it was me, what I would do is I would make sure that I would remove all the ministers, appoint them as per their qualification. That is my question.
Okay, yeah, that's something definitely I would think about. I cannot say definitely I would do it, But like I said, I would have to look at the circumstances of the current position that I'm going into. But the ministers, as you said, like I said, I could really remove those that I feel are not fit for a particular position. I cannot tell someone with a degree in agriculture, diploma in agriculture, and put them in finance. No, it really does not make sense. We have various professions, we have different studies, because each and every degree is tailored for that particular profession. Do you understand? So there are some ministers that I will take out, like Pravin Gordan or Trevor Mandel. You know those people who have what? Economics, Tabumbegi. Those people have economics. So they are fit as finance ministers. They could be in financial committees and all that. But if someone is in something else, well, like you said, it's a good point that you're trying to suggest. Yes, I would try to start there. I would try to start there. But I would